What's up, everybody? It's Two Skinny Dudes. That's Jason Aponte. I'm Jarrett Bailey. We are Two Skinny Dudes. Week 6 on the horizon. We have Thursday Night Football already. We can touch a little bit on that. Jay, I watched Halloween Kills last night, and mother of God.
Keep it to yourself because I'm watching it tonight. Last night I purposely didn't watch it. I was able to finagle someone else's Peacock subscription, so that's another win. Maybe it'll change the way that I'm actually looking at how the movie is, because when it's free, it's always better than paying for it. So yeah, I'm excited to watch it. I've heard good things, and I really liked the one before this. And I was really shocked to find out that Kenny Powers was actually someone that was behind writing it. And he seems to have a good grasp on the mythology and everything too. So I thought it was cool because it wasn't so much of a reboot as it was, a little bit of fan service, but it almost kind of continued the 1978 story, which I thought was cool. And they know enough about it to keep it going. But one thing that I heard that's a little bit different, because the first Halloween in 1978 had no blood, is that this one is a far cry from that. In terms of gore, and I'm interested to see, because even I thought the last one too, I was like, man, there's so much blood in this movie. It's like it's really bad, but yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, no. So this trilogy of movies is a direct sequel from the 1978 version. So John Carpenter, the person who directed the 1978 version, he is a producer. He does the
music,
the score, and everything. So yeah, man, He hyped it up before it was released a few months ago, saying that it's by far the goriest sequel of any of the other movies that have been part of the mythos of Michael Myers. So he was not lying. He was not lying. Yeah. So yeah, you're gonna love it. So that was my last night. But now we've got football to focus on coming tomorrow. So we could touch on your 49ers and my Steelers like we usually do to kick off the show, just to get it out of the way. You got Seattle. Oh no. Who do they play tomorrow? I got 49ers? Seattle. Yes.
Yeah, the 49ers are on a bye, thank Lord.
Okay, that's what I thought. So Steelers play Seattle tomorrow. See, I'm too caught up in Halloween right now. I need to get focused here. But yes, the Steelers play the Seattle Seahawks tomorrow. Sunday Night Football. Mike Tirico on the call. Steelers are 5-0 in the last 5 Mike Tirico games. So good omens all the way around for Pittsburgh. I'm excited. Geno Smith is playing, not Russell Wilson. So I'm feeling good, Jay. This is a defense that the Steelers should be able to carve up. If they were able to run for over 100 yards against a Denver defense that was 4th best in the NFL against the run, Najee Harris should be able to keep eating against the Seahawks. Ben should be able to feel comfortable against that really bad defense. And the Steelers defense should be able to handle Geno Smith. So this feels like a game that they should win. They're traditionally really good in prime time as well. So all the cards seem to be playing toward Pittsburgh right now. And as a Steeler fan, that gets me excited. Hopefully to get to 3-3 going into the bye.
Yeah, and as 49er fans, you know that we're with you, and we're picking you to win this game as well too. I mean, yeah, you, for all the reasons that you mentioned, nothing against Geno Smith, who actually played very well when he was pressed into duty after Russell Wilson got injured. Actually almost won that game against the Rams. At the same time, they're a bit overmatched. Even with Juju out in this game, Najee Harris should start to take on that role of the underneath flat throws that he was getting, from the slot. So I don't really see too many problems with this one. I think you guys should definitely win this game. So yeah, you got 49er Nation behind you on this one, because even if the Seattle Seahawks don't seem to be a real threat to the division, especially considering now with this injury, it's always good to see them lose and watch them lose on primetime. So we're with it.
If the Steelers are smart, I've written about this all week. If they're smart, they'll just keep Chase Claypool predominantly in the slot, because
he's going off this week.
That's where he's been most effective. Like, they've tried to make him the go-to outside guy opposite of Deontay Johnson. Hasn't worked. And whether it's because he's not using his size to his advantage, especially when matched up against more physical corners, he just hasn't been successful. So hopefully they keep him inside, because that's a walking mismatch waiting to happen if he's playing against slot corners or linebackers. We saw it last week. So if they're smart, they'll keep doing that. Najee Harris should eat. Hopefully Deontay Johnson can keep this mini hot streak he's got going. He's got back-to-back weeks with touchdowns, both on the exact same play, the exact same throw. So we'll see if they can keep that going. Noteworthy game of the week, though, the one that everybody's begging to get flexed to primetime, Chargers-Ravens. That's going to be a fun one, Jay. I'm excited to see. Well, first of all, the Chargers come into the game with the worst rush defense in the NFL. That plays in the hand of Baltimore. Baltimore, on the other hand, though, their secondary has been a little bit depleted all year. That plays right into the hands of the Chargers. Seems like, for every yin, there's a yang on the other side of the ball. I'm excited to see. Baltimore's 2.5-point favorites right now, Tom.
shootout. And what Lamar Jackson did this Monday night, that was impressive, man. And
Phenomenal.
you know, this was supposed to be the year that everybody was supposed to figure him out. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy right now is outgained by himself the entire 49ers offense. Let that sit in for you real quick, 49er fans. So yeah, this one's going to be a lot of fun. The Chargers are, Justin Herbert's incredible, man. You know, they had a thriller last week against the Browns. I believe they won by like 3 or something like that towards the end of the game. It was back and forth. It's just going to be a fun game. I mean, you know what's funny? And we haven't even touched really on the Thursday night game because it did turn into that a little bit later on. But has there been any bad primetime games yet? I mean,
I was thinking the same thing. I don't. I mean, we can maybe make the argument for Buffalo, Kansas City, but even then, that's a clash of two of the AFC's best.
I wouldn't even say that either. That was very entertaining, and I mean, we might have a chance at our first real big blowout primetime game with the Steelers in Seattle. That could be that game. But
I mean, I'm crossing my fingers on that.
Yeah, for the most part, though, these primetime games, whether they're Thursday, Monday, Sunday, they've all been great, honestly. And the NFL couldn't be happier right now with the product that they're putting out there on primetime. Even it doesn't matter what the teams are, right? Like you look on Thursday, Eagles Bucks, you're like, man, this one's gonna get ugly quick. Started out that way, but then the Eagles hang around. They go for 2 there to really like put the pressure on, and then Brady and them end it. Obviously, the score wasn't as I don't think that indicates how far apart the game actually was, but it still was exciting towards the end because of the points and the circumstances.
Yeah, no, I agree. What petition do we have to sign to get Gus Johnson as the Monday Night Football play-by-play guy?
I just want Gus Johnson to narrate my life.
Yeah,
like
me too.
In the morning when I get up and everything and I go, use the bathroom first, brush my teeth, everything, I need him to be there. And I just need him to, be yelling and be over exertive when it comes to all that stuff. So, yeah, I mean.
If I ever get a Gus Johnson impression down, it's over. I will never not do it.
That's going to be hard. Hard. But it's worth it. If you get it, then it's yours.
No, it's just a lot of excitement in the voice, and that's getting it to that level is not going to be easy. But I'll keep you guys updated if I decide to do that. That reminds me, I thought of a segment that we can start doing on this show. It could just be a brief one. Mm-hmm. So, throughout the course of the NFL season, there's going to be different things that we can talk about. Obviously, we could break it down into categories, whether it be teams, whether it be quarterbacks, players in general. We can call it they suck or they rule. Now, basically, this is just an excuse for me to do Beavis and Butthead on the show. Yes. Yeah, absolutely. So I think that's something that we should integrate going forward.
I like it.
For the hell of it. Yeah?
I like it.
I'm glad to hear it as I hit my nicotine in the middle of you getting. All right. Let me pull up the schedule, actually, because the rest, I mean, this is when bye weeks start this week, so not everybody's going to be in action. But yeah, so in terms of, there being a lot of noteworthy games, there really isn't too many this week outside of Chargers, Ravens, going down, maybe the other
Cleveland, Arizona.
One, that's the other biggest one is Cleveland, Arizona. I do think that the Browns win this, Jay. Like, I understand that Nick Chubb isn't there, but Arizona, they're not going to win every game. They're starting to show like a little bit of slowing down. Like, it's not as if they played phenomenal last week. So I think that even without Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt's still a phenomenal running back. They've still got weapons offensively. It's going to come down to me, like, can Baker Mayfield make some throws? Because this is the year where Cleveland's got to decide, okay, are we just going to pick up his 5th-year option? Are we going to extend him? Like, what are we going to do? Like, 2 weeks ago, he had a stinker against Minnesota. They still won, but him going 15-33 isn't, screaming, hey, pay me $35, $40 million a year. They can't really do that right now. So I think that this is big for Baker.
Yeah, and honestly, that really goes to speak to 2 things: the roster of the Browns and the coaching that they're able to win basically right now, at least in a large part of this season so far, in spite of Baker. And this is bad because Baker had a great year last year in terms of what he was asked to do, how he looked in that offense. And for him to regress a little and slide like this it's a little bit concerning because you're absolutely right. They do have to make a decision really soon. I am on the other side of this. I think Arizona wins this game actually too. I think that what happened last week was, you're absolutely right. They didn't play up to par, but I think that the 49ers have kind of laid a little bit of a blueprint in terms of how to at least slow down Kyler Murray. Because, you heard D'Amico Ryans talk before the game and say, it's almost like LeBron, it's almost like, Jordan, whatever. They're going to get what they're going to get, right? Like, you can't stop them, but you have to limit it, right? Mm-hmm. So, what they did was, it sounds simple, right? And this is what's been preached. is the 49ers were great on the edge, keeping him in the pocket. But here's the thing, is that Kyler Murray is a little bit different than Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson will climb the pocket and at least try to throw the ball down the field. When it comes to Kyler, if there's no contain, his first move is to go outside. So now when that's all blocked up, now he has to step up and look over those giant men. Becomes a little bit harder. So I think DeMeco Ryans has really kind of shown that this is the way to really do it. This is the way that you limit him. And he still made some insane throws. I mean, they had 17 points. It wasn't based on play calling. It was based on Kyler Murray throwing passes while fading away that only he makes. And you know, the catch to Rondell Moore. You know, they in the first drive, it was the first drive primarily that they were going crazy, where they had the 49ers had no answers. But I think that Cleveland can actually do that as well, too, because they have the personnel to keep him in the pocket. Yeah. There's just something brewing in Arizona. I think that's a little bit different. It almost kind of – it's always that one team that you're just like, oh, are they for real? They're 5-0. When does it stop? Well, sometimes you start to believe, and I think Arizona's going to find a way to win this game. I mean, and Baker's got to play better if they have any shot at winning it.
I think regardless if Arizona wins or not, they're still among the best teams in the league. Like, I don't think, like, losing here is – if they lose and that makes somebody think, oh, they weren't for real, come on.
Oh, no, I wouldn't say that. I would just say that, you know, like, I understand that nobody really had them pegged right now with a chance to get to 6-0.
Sure.
But 6-0 is very possible, and I think that might be indicative of the team that they actually are. You are what your record says, right?
Somewhat. Speaking of teams that aren't what their record are, the Detroit Lions are winless right now. Mm-hmm. They should have arguably 2 wins, if not for, you know, the leg of Jesus Christ from Baltimore.
Maybe 3 in week 1.
Hey, that's your territory. I ain't getting in there.
It's all right, whatever. A win's a win, but that game got way too close.
It did. It really did. So they're playing inspired football. They're playing competitive football. They got 53 guys that are busting their ass every Sunday. I think, and I said this earlier on the betting show, you know, I took Detroit plus 3.5, and I took a money line. I think the Lions get their first win of the year this week against the Cincinnati Bengals. They quietly have a really good pass rush right now, which is surprising. Didn't expect that from the Lions. Jared Goff has looked relatively okay. Offensively, they're not anything flashy right now, but they're getting the job done. They were able to move the ball against Green Bay a few weeks ago. They were able to get some stuff done against Minnesota. They were able to hold Baltimore to what should have been a win, if not for, you know, a few outstanding circumstances that didn't go in their favor. I do think that Detroit, they're not going to go 0-17. I think that this is the week that they get their first win. This isn't a knock on the Bengals by any means. I think the Bengals will be playing meaningful football in December. But right now, I think that this is where, you know, Detroit gets off the schneid a little bit, gets their first win. They've just come too close to keep, you know, falling short. So I think that this is the week they finally get it done.
And allow me to use this as my time to apologize to Dan Campbell. Absolutely. I mean, that press conference after the game, you know, someone look at that and say, man, he's out of control. But for me, that feels like a guy who is hurting for his team. His team is playing for him, like you said, the 53. And that's how you build a culture. You may not have the roster, but if you can get guys to play for you and they're in every game, they never give up. I apologize to Dan Campbell wholeheartedly. And I know that it's only 5 games and it doesn't mean what's going to happen the rest of the year. But you're absolutely right. The Lions aren't exactly what their record shows. So you're right about that one. I give you that. But I have to say that I'm really, really surprised at how well they played. They've got buy-in, and they're trending in the right direction in terms of culture, right? And I know that culture doesn't win football games. Obviously, it's a result-based business. But you have to kind of like what he's doing right now and the way that he has to build this up from the bottom. I mean, it's Detroit. Everybody has to build it from the bottom. Nobody gets it when it's really good, especially when you talk about moving on from Matthew Stafford, bringing in Jared Goff, all these other people. You know, you get Penei Sewell, you know, Taylor Decker's been injured. It's really impressive with the effort that they put forth, and a lot of that credit has to go to Dan Campbell, man. So I apologize. You know, I know that we laugh about the kneecaps and the espresso and all that stuff, but maybe that's just the type of guy he is, man. And there's got to be a method to the madness, especially when you look at how these guys have been playing and the effort they've been given. Absolutely.
And you mentioned Taylor Decker. I'm going to add that to the list of future Pittsburgh Steelers. Taylor Decker. Fingers crossed on that too. We can keep going down the slate. Green Bay goes to Chicago this week. They're 6-point favorites. Start off as 4.5 points. So Vegas really likes Green Bay this week. I can't necessarily blame them. It's not as if the Bears are setting the world on fire. I get that they're 3-2 as well, but last week was a very defensive matchup against the Raiders. Justin Fields, yes, he threw a touchdown, but the offense looks very stagnant right now. I think that, I mean, obviously they're still trying to figure things out with Fields under center. But this feels like a game that Green Bay should march in and win. Rodgers is 20-5 against Green Bay or against Chicago in his career. Feels like it's going to be 21-5 after Sunday.
Yeah, and I think to be fair too, what I noticed because I watched both the Justin Fields starts, big Justin Fields guys. So the first game, I thought that Bill Lazor did a good job of running the ball very well, and getting him in advantageous spots. Same thing that they kind of did against the Raiders. They ran the ball 34 times. Justin Fields threw it 17 times. There's a certain coach that I kind of wish would have done the same thing for another rookie starting quarterback. I just can't remember his name right now, but I agree with you. I think the Packers do win this game. Obviously, no Jair Alexander. Kevin King has been ruled out as well, too. So that secondary is a little bit banged up. But, yeah, I think that Aaron Rodgers is eventually too much for the Bears. And Allen Robinson's a little bit banged up going into this game as well, too. So we'll see. Khalil Herbert is the starter. David Montgomery's on IR. Damian Williams tested positive for COVID, so he's on the COVID list. So they're really down to like the last few guys in certain spots, and yeah, it's just going to be too much. I got the Packers winning this game as well too.
Yeah, me too, and I think that they should cover that 6-point spread. Green Bay continues this mini run that they're on. I mean, everybody said that Green Bay was left for dead after week 1, and look where we are now, Jason Aponte. We are, the Green Bay Packers are among the best teams in the NFL. Kansas City Chiefs, they aren't among the best teams in the NFL. Actually, they're bad. Steelers and Chiefs have the same record. So if we would have said that at the start of the season, I would have been really excited. But now looking at it in hindsight, that's not exactly a great thing. Their defense is atrocious right now. They've gotten exposed multiple weeks. Last week against Buffalo, to be specific, Baltimore ran all over them. The Chargers did whatever they wanted. So now they face a Washington football team that is without Curtis Samuel, potentially without Terry McLaurin. I haven't seen any updates on that, but I know that he was questionable.
I think he might play. I would bet that he's going to play. But yeah, no Curtis Samuel, unfortunately.
Yeah, so that's going to be a little bit easier for the Chiefs defense to deal with. Antonio Gibson has been dealing with injuries as well. He's playing through that though. So
Logan Thomas is injured on the IR.
Exactly. Exactly. So if the Chiefs don't win this game, Jay, and the Chargers do beat Baltimore, I mean, the Chargers now would have a 3-game lead in the AFC West, getting to 5-1. Kansas City goes to 2-4. That's a bad spot to be in. Now, I do think that Kansas City wins, but their defense hasn't given me any reason to be completely confident in them going forward unless something drastically changes.
Yeah, it's really more the defense than anything. I've kind of seen a little bit of funny narratives being thrown out there on Twitter about, have they figured out Mahomes? Settle in, relax. I was like, and you still look at his numbers, and he's still putting up an incredible pace right now. And if that's figuring it out, stop it. But it really falls on the defense more than anything. It's hard for me to bet against those guys. I have to bet because of the coaching that they have around there and the talent that they have on that team, that they get it figured out. Not everybody's going to start off the way that everybody thinks. And especially, everybody holds the Chiefs in high regard. Back-to-back Super Bowl, Patrick Mahomes, everything. Well, no Clyde Edwards-Helaire in this game means you're going to see a lot of Darrell Williams and Jerick McKinnon. But yeah, I think that you're absolutely right. This Washington defense is actually not as good as we believed it was, and that's something that I kind of sat on the entire time saying this is why I believe that they're going to be the NFC East champ. Was the defense. Fitzpatrick was going to get in there, while Taylor Heineke has not played bad at all. Has played admirably. Anytime that his numbers called, it always seems like he plays hard. That kid, I'll give him that, man. He does. But the defense is the reason that this team is struggling right now, and I believe that the Chiefs get right back on the horse with this win against them. So yeah, I mean, and too much other things going on with Washington besides football. And they're gonna and they're trying to. Well, they're not trying to. This is something that was floated out there as a conspiracy theory, but it was already they were already gonna do this. They're gonna retire Sean Taylor's number before the game too. So I mean, let's see. I got the Chiefs winning this game.
Retiring the great Sean Taylor's number with 4 days notice. How coincidental. Damn the Washington football team to hell. All right. I don't want to talk about them anymore. That just angered me. Minnesota heads to Carolina. The Panthers oh my goodness, the Panthers. You know how much I like the Panthers. They're kind of my baby of this season, but I'm angry at them because they really screwed me in multiple parlays last week. I'm sitting there, they're up 15-9 or whatever it was. The defense is, keeping it contained. I'm like, yeah. And I'm sitting there, okay, Carolina's going to get the job done. That's phenomenal. And then my little baby boy, Sammy Darnold.
Yeah, that was a bad performance.
That was his worst performance as a Panther. There's no doubt about that.
Easy.
Yeah. We started off the season hot. The game before this one wasn't anything spectacular, but it wasn't bad. The game against Dallas, yes, he threw 2 picks, but he also kept them within a score and kept them competitive throughout. So, but this past week against Philadelphia, that was bad. So, hopefully against Minnesota, we see something a little bit better. They are home. Defensively, we know that Carolina's really good, but we'll see how much they can slow down Thielen and Justin Jefferson. Dalvin Cook is playing. Christian McCaffrey is not. So they're going to have a few things stacked against them going into this week.
Yeah, I mean, that McCaffrey news is a bummer, man. After he got his contract, all of a sudden, from being durable to, everybody who is on that don't pay running backs bandwagon is going to use this as the case.
They're taking a victory lap.
Yeah, for sure. And it sucks, man, because obviously the NFL is better when the stars are playing, and Christian McCaffrey is no doubt a star. But, he's going to be missing in this game. Chuba Hubbard's been playing well, man. He was good. He's been very solid. I'm so happy that DJ Moore is actually playing very well, so everybody can finally understand what I've been talking about with this guy. I mean, the guy had back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons, and it takes me every day to tell you guys that he's good without you guys realizing it. He's really good. But yeah, I think that a lot of the things that were talked about with the Panthers were, hey, they got a bunch of wins against a bunch of scrub teams. Well, you can only play against who you're up against. So Dallas is actually really good. Shocker. Didn't know that. Didn't notice that was going to happen. That Philly game felt a little weird, and it felt like because Darnold put them in some bad spots, turned the ball over on his side of the field, and he let Philly hang around, and Jalen Hurts, he got it done at the end. But this week against Minnesota, this one's tough for me, man. I think that Minnesota, they just got a miracle win, basically, right? Again, we were talking about the Lions. Kirk Cousins is playing some of his best football ever, probably right now. I mean, even though the last 2 games have been down, I felt like he's been much better than advertised and much better than people give him credit for. And you mentioned Justin Jefferson and Thielen, but the Panthers defense is loaded up to stop the run. Dalvin Cook's in for a test here, man. And we'll see how that goes. We all know that the offense is based off of play action, Kubiak. They want to get the ball down the field, but it's really going to be up to these corners to really see what they can do against Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen. And I mean, AJ Boye and Dante Jackson and Gilmore's there, Horn's still there. I have to give the Panthers credit. Their general manager has done a great job of just going in and just getting as many players as he can in trades. So I mean, it goes to show that that's what they're thinking, is that they're thinking about winning. But in terms of who I think could probably win this game, I guess give me Carolina, but
it's a toss-up for me. It's a toss-up for me too.
I don't feel too good about it. I'll say Carolina, though. Yeah,
and remember, Stephon Gilmore still not playing in this game. I think he's eligible to play Week 7. So
Week 7, yes.
So they'll get him. Look, losing J.C. Horn hurt because he was playing really well with the broken foot and everything, but they go out and get C.J. Henderson, trade for Stephon Gilmore, still got Dante Jackson and Boye. I mean, they're 4 deep right now without their top corner, arguably. So that's saying a lot. Right. Good for the Panthers and getting aggressive. Matt Rule's doing a great job with this unit. They have one of the best defensive units in football right now. So good for them. They're playing hard. I would like to see them get a win this week, obviously, just because I'm big on the Panthers this year. So it would be nice to see them kind of get off this little losing streak that they've been on and get back on the right track. We talked about a team that's a lot in the news because of non-football reasons, and the Las Vegas Raiders will be traveling to Denver this week in the first game post John Gruden resigning. I think this is really it feels like this is just going to torpedo their season. It doesn't feel like you can really. That's a ginormous distraction to deal with. Not to mention the fact that Denver's really good defensively. Vegas has struggled against good defenses thus far. So I think that Denver, both teams are on 2-game losing streaks. I think Denver is the team that will end their own losing streak and get back on track. They're 4.5-point favorites at home. This whole thing, man, it's we have these conversations too often, and it's unfortunate that we have to have them. But it does seem like at least once or twice a year something of this nature happens, and we keep saying the same things, but they keep on happening, and now Las Vegas kind of has to deal with the backlash of that.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I mean, this team has got to be lost in the woods right now at this point. Complete change now with the regime, what they're going to be trying to do. It's just too much to ask, and I think that Denver's too good to not pounce on this one. So yeah, I've got Denver too. In terms of the conversation at hand, it is unfortunate. It is something that continues to happen, and I feel like a little bit like them concluding the email, wrap up with nothing else kind of makes it seem like John Gruden's a fall guy.
Yeah, I agree. I think out of, what is it, 650,000 emails, the only guy that you found that said anything remotely offensive like that is John Gruden. I think it's pretty evident that the NFL is covering their own ass right now. And look, it's a shame because they can do that. Like, we're not going to stop watching. We're going to keep tuning in. All of us are. And whether that's right or wrong, it's what it is. And they know that, it's not going to damage them greatly. And it seems that John Gruden is going to be that fall guy. It makes zero sense that an investigation that started with the Washington football team ends with John Gruden getting the fall. If Bruce Allen was still there, obviously there would be more backlash on Washington. He's not there anymore. So the fall goes elsewhere since he is no longer in their front office. But you're telling me that Bruce Allen is the only one in that organization that would have had any sort of dirt on him. But Las Vegas Raiders head coach John Gruden is the one guy that we can find. I find it hard to believe. Obviously, we're never going to know 100% for sure, but it's extremely, extremely shady that, one, they're not releasing these emails, and two, they're just telling us, yeah, we didn't find anything. Let's move on.
Makes you wonder why they made sure that they went ahead and they gave Kaepernick all that money to just say, okay, you got us.
It does, doesn't it? So it's unfortunate. Obviously nothing that we say is going to really change the fact, but it is, important to at least bring it up. So regardless, yes, I do think, shifting back to the football side of it, I do think Denver wins. Like I said, this is just so much of a distraction. I feel for Carl Nassib though too. I mean, the guy's having a hell of a year, and he's got to deal with all of this not football related stuff. I feel bad for him. A guy who's supposed to be his ally in all this, thinking that he was behind him, and then this comes out. It's got to be a blow to him. So, love to Carl Nassib. Hopefully, he's doing okay mentally right now, because that's rough.
100%. My bad. Averly's in the background, so I'm on mute.
I know you're chilling, mate. So, all right, let's move on. We do have this feels like a gift of free money, because the Dallas Cowboys are 3.5-point favorites in New England. I feel like this is going to be a track meet where Dallas just runs up 30 and Mac and New England struggle to put up like 17. So I like the 3.5-point line in favor of Dallas. I bet it already. I would bet it 8 times if I could. Actually, as a matter of fact, I think I can. Just an analogy though, folks. Don't do that. So yeah, Dallas minus 3.5. I do like that one a lot.
Yeah, I got Dallas winning this game too. I don't think New England has the offense to keep up with them. I mean, right now, Dallas's offense is looking like the best in the league at this point. I mean, Dak Prescott, he's just out of control right now. And, while McCarthy's trying his best to lose games with time management and such, Kellen Moore is doing a great job over there. So, yeah, I just don't think that Matt Jones and those guys can keep up. So, yeah, I got Dallas winning this game.
Yeah, Ezekiel Elliott's also got back-to-back games of 100 yards rushing. He's seeming to find, the 2017 Zeke that we were looking for a while. So he's getting back into form. CeeDee Lamb's playing well. Dak's looking phenomenal. Yeah. And Trevon Diggs is chasing the interceptions record, Jay. He's at 6.
Yes, he is. And I think I think they lead the league in interceptions, and he's 6 of 7, honestly. So that's a surprise. The defense has actually played a lot better. So Dallas is in position to win this division, I think.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the rest of the division. I mean, the Giants aren't. I don't think the Eagles are. Washington is just too inconsistent right now to really understand or know what their identity is. So, yeah, in terms of the teams Dallas is head and shoulders above everybody else in that division. I think Dallas is, and they're fine right now. Good for them. I mean, you and I both thought that their defense was going to be the thing that held them back. Obviously, Trayvon Diggs has played really well and been by far the best player in that secondary. But they're getting after the quarterback as well. They're playing well. So good for Dallas as they take on New England. Yeah, I think that they should handle business there. We mentioned the Giants. We might as well talk about the Rams and the Giants. Whoever the hell shows up to play for the Giants, because they're injury riddled all over the field, especially on offense. No Kenny Golladay, no Saquon Barkley in this game. Rams are favored by 8. It looks like Daniel Jones is going to play. That does seem like what's going to happen. So the Giants, faithful are thinking that whatever God they pray to, that Mike Glennon is not going to be the starter this week against the Rams. So at least they have somewhat of a shot.
Yeah, I think the Rams win this game, but I don't know if they're going to win by, I think I looked at it, it was like 9 now or something like that. I don't know if it's going to be that much. I mean, I think the Giants have to, this is like a big moment for them right now to show that they can at least be competitive in these games. And yeah, Daniel Jones is going to play. Kadarius Toney had a really good game last week.
He did.
It really just begs the question of why you used the pick on him when it literally took every single wide receiver and running back to go down before you started to feature him. It doesn't make any sense, but whatever. Hey, he's here now and he's going to have a big shot. Sterling Shepard looks like he's going to play. So is Darius Slayton. And you know what? The Rams are the Rams, man. This offense is going to be tough to stop. Aside from a divisional game with Seattle where everybody's like, oh, well, look at how bad they did. That's a divisional game. You toss that out, right? Like, that's just what happens. But I don't know if the 9 is too much. So I would actually roll the Giants here, at least when it comes to the point spread, because I don't know if the Rams are covering 9. I expect the Giants to come out and be a lot more competitive than people think, especially with all the injuries they have.
And we know how good Daniel Jones is, too. Like, he's going to do all he can to keep them in it. It's just going to come down to, okay, how much can the Giants defense limit the Rams offense? I mean, we know how good the Rams offense is. We know they're going to put up points. Matthew Stafford's been fantastic. Cooper Kupp is having the year of his career right now. Robert Woods is really good. So they're clicking on all cylinders on the offensive side of the ball. It's just going to come down to, can New York, at least limit them in terms of points, and can Daniel Jones in the offense, try to keep pace. So it'll be a fun one. I mean, the matchup, what was it? Was it last year where they went to New York and the Jalen Ramsey Golden Tate altercation at the end?
It was in LA, but yeah, and that was a close game. That one went right to the wire. But
17-12, I think.
Something like that. And they had a chance to win the game at the end, and Jones threw a pick at the end. So, yeah.
So that'll be fun to watch. Buffalo, Tennessee is the Monday night game. This is one that, I'm not touching in terms of betting just because Buffalo's riding high off their biggest win their biggest regular season win, at least in, I don't know, a decade. Beating Kansas City was, the biggest win in the regular season for them in a very long time. I'm wondering if, that high is going to if they're going to come down a little bit, if Derrick Henry's going to have a little bit of a day, keep it close. I think Buffalo will win. They should win against a Tennessee team that doesn't look like they even field a defense right now.
Buffalo wins this game. The defense is too good right now. Now, when you're pairing that with what the offense is doing, man, Buffalo is the head and shoulders right now favorite in the AFC to go to the bowl, man. And I don't really see a team playing better than them right now. I think they win really easily in this game, actually.
Yeah, no, Tennessee. The biggest concern about them coming into the year, it's lived up to it. The defense isn't good, mate. The secondary is largely rookies and second-year guys, with the exception of Jack Rabbit. Which, no disrespect to Jack Rabbit, but it's not as if, if Jack Rabbit is your premier corner at his age, it's probably not a great thing. So Buffalo should win. I think they will win. But Buffalo's not going to just run the table here. They still got a few tough. Their toughest game remaining is Tampa Bay. Outside of that, they still got to play the Jets twice, still got to play Miami, still got to play New England. So it's not as if their schedule is anything brutal. So they could, there's a realistic chance they go, 14-3-ish and get that number 1 seed.
So what I got them locked in for right now, especially after they went into Arrowhead and did what they did. That was the only thing stopping them at this point.
Yeah. So that is the Monday night matchup. I'm trying to see if there's a game that we haven't covered yet, Jay. Oh, well, yeah, we would be remiss if we didn't talk about the David versus Goliath matchup that I'm sure everybody will be watching. The Indianapolis Colts hosting the Houston Texans. I'm sure every eye in America will be on that game.
Ugh, just give me the Colts and just I don't want to watch it.
As great as Lamar Jackson played last week, one thing that got overshadowed was also the fact that Carson Wentz had the best game of his career, arguably, last week. Obviously, they lost, so it's not getting talked about a lot. Carson Wentz played phenomenal against Baltimore. So this is where Indy's schedule starts getting easier. They've got, I think, Houston. They got the Jets. They got the Jaguars here in the next few weeks. So they can start kind of rattling off wins and trying to keep pace with Tennessee, who's only a game in front of them still, or maybe 2 games now, because I think Tennessee has 3 wins. So they can try to claw their way back into the AFC South race, which is really a 2-team race between Tennessee and Indianapolis. It's not as if Jacksonville or Houston is going to make this, another anything competitive in the AFC South.
Nah, probably not.
So Indy should win. They're 10-point favorites. Davis Mills and the Texans, they held a 22-9 lead against New England, and then it went away because, of course, it did. So that is one thing to pay attention to when coming to this game. So, all right, guys, We appreciate you joining us. Have a good week 6 Sunday and Monday. We'll see you at some point next week to get into week 7. Jay, I love you, my friend. Go watch Halloween Kills tonight. Let me know how you like it.
Definitely will, Jarrett. And thank you for everybody tuning in. Like, subscribe. Make sure that you guys are tuned in. We're going to be doing this every week again. So for Jarrett, for Jay, we're out of here.